HR supply chain, highlighting and showcasing solutions for the most complex challenges facing the industry in 21st century by our team of subject matter experts and mentors. Broadcasting every week, all year round, we will present the most up-to-date series of podcasts and webinars.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Bicara Supply Chain. This is Nur Hadi, your host. We have a special guest today, Costantini. She is an expert in circular economy and currently CEC Chapter lead and CEI ambassador, and she lives in Canada. Thank you for being here, Kai. It's great to have you on the show.
Thank you, Nur Hadi. I'm very pleased. Thanks for the invitation, and I look forward to this. You have a great podcast going here.
Awesome. Okay, so in today's episode, we are going to talk about fostering the global circular economy. But before we get started, Kay, could you please brief a bit about yourself and your professional background?
Yes, sure. Thank you. I've been actually engaged with circularity over 10 years ago now. When I actually first came to Canada, I redesigned my career. I'm initially a former executive search professional for life sciences and HR and IT. And I also, my only venture, I'd say, into logistics was as an IT project coordinator for a floor covering, wholesaler, where I did an ERP migration project. So, but coming to Canada, I really had, I guess, very much existential angst for the future of my kids. And I felt that I needed to redesign my career around more sustainable issues. And I discovered circular economy through the Ellen MacArthur Foundation and started my learning journey, which I obviously still am continuing. And through circular economy, I discovered biomimicry, which is an innovation methodology. So I specialized in that because it was more fascinating to me. And then sort of a couple of years back, I started again to look closer at circular economy because I found that there's a lot happening in the innovation range, but we obviously have to scale at some point. And that's when I decided that I wanted to see how we could really translate this into business and industry. And so I'm functioning as a business strategist and advisor or consultant, looking at strategy and innovation and talent and capabilities around all these subjects.
Awesome. Okay, tell me the story about the Circular Economy Club, Kay, and what are the main concerns in relation to the global economy?
So circular economy obviously is a term which has been around for a long time. As I described earlier on, it is based on a couple of different thinkings, or which comes out of performance economy from Walter Stell or the blue economy and other. So this term has been around for a while, but Anatari in 2014 started the CEC Club as a way to raise awareness around this. Obviously, it's been already present in Europe and well developed and underway there. And so she started, I think she was in London, this club as an open grassroots movement, which is one of the major attractors I find, and created a network, a global network of people who obviously are interested in spreading the awareness, like you. You are a local chapter leader. I learned in Surabaya, and I started the chapter in Calgary. Today it's launched and it sort of rolls on its own. And today I'm the chapter lead of Winnipeg. And so today the circular economy clubs are, I think, 240 worldwide. They are in cities and in universities, and they cover, I think, around 140 countries. So it's definitely a global movement. And we have professional networks, and we also have a Circular Cities Week each year where we showcase local showcases, business cases, and create learning and awareness around what circular cities look like and how you can sort of create more circular economic activities in your local places.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And how do you see shifting trends globally from a linear economy to circular economy? What is your view on this, Kay?
Well, I mean, obviously, it's a very great big shift which needs to happen, and our learning is slow. We are a species which does not change fast or easily, and depending on our habits, and obviously our linear mindsets do not help. So it's deep undertaking, but it's well underway. I feel that it really sort of has been picking up fast thanks to COVID. And that's for once something I look positively at the pandemic for certain things. And this definitely is one of the things which shifted it much faster to forefront of mind in many places where it's looked at as a tool for economic recovery, especially in North America, I'd say, but also in Europe. So globally, I find that it's already well distributed across many countries. So China started its official initiative 2009. Japan was even before that. Germany since the 1990s, I think, with legislation or some official programs which they launched. And now it really sort of sped up. In Europe, you have very recently the second circular economy plan, and you have important legislation around repair, for instance, which will impact supply chain for sure. The eco-design guide, the new eco-design guide, for instance. So these things are really speeding up on policy sides in a lot of the Western countries, but I do see also a lot happening in Asia. I know that Circular Africa has been active for a very long time, and the leader there, which is Alexander Lemil, actually also has a very big agenda on a just circular economy, and which is a human and people sphere as well. And I think that's something I'll explain a little bit later. It's one of the things which might in future be we might have to look out for this shift to happen also in a just way. So, and I think that also applies obviously to your audience in the supply chains, where resilience and diversity is really, and supply chain transparency obviously is really vital to all this with respect to that. So,
and in your personal opinion, Guy, what the business leader, right, must to do in securing that they are moving in the right directions?
So the right direction for sure, I think we all know by now across the planet, and I'm glad to see that we share it and we can share it easily. See, we have to do anything which reduces GHG, we have to do anything which prevents biodiversity loss, and we have to watch out for water scarcity. So we have a planet-wide awareness that as a species, we do not function as we should. And so the prerogative of anyone in any position, and the leader for me can be, you know, in any context, private or public and professional, you can start moving in the right direction by doing anything which reduces waste, the take, make, and waste principles we have in our linear manufacturing chains or in our consumption patterns. So whenever you can, start with something small. You opened the Subarabaya CEC chapter. I opened the chapter. Doesn't have to be that big, can be smaller than that. You can, in the supply chain, just look at, you know, how can I modify one material in my supply chain? How can I prevent fugitive value in the supply chain? Anything which moves us away from the traditional way of doing it. And it's not an easy feat. So I think the one thing people can do is just try something out, pilot something, whichever scale, and seek out community around it. I think those are the 2 or 3 elements. Just start right away with whatever comes easily, and don't seek to make it too big. Just find community around that. Try to get a little bit of buy-in. Doesn't have to be the executive suite or anything. You start small and you make it becomes visible. People feel that they want to engage, and I'm sure that's a way forward for anybody in any position and situation. And in complex adaptive system, small little things move the needle much faster than many big things which are hard to wield.
Awesome. Oh, okay, Kai. Could you please share your thought on what are probably major obstacles happened in creating the global circular economy?
So obviously those are plenty. For starters, awareness, and I think we both already had a chat a little bit around that.
Yeah.
So raising awareness around circularity is essential. So anybody, start your journey, start documenting yourself, start learning. Whichever way, there's so much out there, and a lot of this is free because, as I said, I really feel there is momentum now. And so there is a lot you can learn without even having to attend official certifications. But if you want to move further, obviously, I advise you to do so. Obstacles, I see many. For a lot of the circularity, the way we look at it right now, technology is a necessity. So a lot of the what we call Industry 4.0, which obviously has lots of impacts on supply chain transparency, is not yet mature or hasn't been adopted widely, or so that's obviously an obstacle. Whether that, for now, I see technology as a necessity, whether it's AI or ML applied, or data analytics to flows, it definitely is a need. On the other hand, we're moving forward on policy, and it needs political action and at national and regional level at some point as well. So that's another one, depending where you are. I mean, I initially already explained I'm in North America, and awareness here only started really in 2019, and it has been really picking up through the pandemic, and people look to circular economy for economic recovery. So now the policy factor is important, and there it would be, for instance, helping it move forward through stipulating rules for procurement, circular procurement. That definitely moves the needle in places like France or in Paris as a city, at a city level. It's an instrument which helps a lot. So legislation at some point. And as I said, digitalization, but another sort of obstacle I think might be, well, we can finance it. I think that's, I'm not going to speak on that because it's an opportunity as well, and the need has been explained. And I think we can be really right now enthusiastic because there is a lot happening also on the biodiversity side. So we are starting to see a combination of how circularity can actually bridge the gap between the emissions and the materiality. So we're looking forward to, I think the expectation right now is that we will have some sort of caps on materials the same way we have on GHG emissions. And I expect that to happen in the next couple of years. And there obviously the obstacles are tremendous because what we've seen from the GHG already teaches us the lessons about how slow we are with these things. So my last point, and I'm not sure whether that might be for a little bit later in the conversation, but there's my underlying concern is one which we have to really, I'm not sure we will be able to tackle, and that's the dichotomy between the biophysical and the technological, which circularity as such does not solve yet. So we have to look at our patterns of growth, and that's really, I look to circular economy to help us really find our way moving towards a way to live, to decouple growth from the material finite resources. And that obviously, we haven't solved that yet. And this is just for me a way in which we could move forward and looking at these things differently and experiment, I guess, towards a more sustainable solution, which might not be in the end circular economy, to be honest. So I'm leaving it here, there, sorry for the length, but it's a huge topic.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, I actually still have a couple of questions, Kai. However, we're running out of time, but before we get close, what are the key takeaways that you would like to share with our listener?
Yes, so key takeaways, as we said, if you are curious about circularity, and I think it's not going to go away anytime, it's not a fad, it's really a big new narrative which pushes us forward to become sustainable on the planet. So start any way you can, read and teach yourself and others, and find community around that. And if you are in a position where you can move further and experiment along the supply chains, please just start a project with substituting materials or something else. The other thing might be to raise awareness for sure. That's what we need most right now, and have a local sort of tool or local group you can connect with around it. So moving forward, what I'd wish that for is that we manage to also keep in mind that we need to have a just circular economy, so an inclusive one, and human-centered, and with respect, obviously, for the natural environments. And that still is part of the entire learning curve we are on right now. And I think in the supply chain, there's a lot you can do. It's not the most visible part in people's minds, because we often think about the design hype solutions, but I think in supply chain there's down to earth a big contribution to be made by cutting emissions, by being inclusive, and moving towards circular supply chains.
Awesome. Okay, once again, thanks so much, Kay. Thank you for taking with us, and I look forward to speaking with you at another time.
Thank you, Nohadi. It was a pleasure to be on your podcast. I think that you have a fantastic knowledge network and informative podcast there. So looking forward to hear more. Take care. Thank you.
At Bichara Supply Chain, we are committed to driving global perspective to embrace technological adaptation in improving process efficiencies. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share Bichara Supply Chain. And stay tuned for the latest updates. To learn more, visit our website www.bicharasupplychain.com. Thank you for listening to us. We look forward to seeing you at our next episode.